This is the program that shows you the side of police chase videos they didn't want you to see.
He picked up speed, look at that!
Bungled arrests, kamikaze crooks, and cop-based carnage of all kinds. Welcome to Cops Uncut 2, the real car crash TV.
On my way. Car's on fire.
Coming up, a felon on the run from his own car. The narcoleptic rally runs off course. And cutting corners get this crim into trouble. The Highway Patrol have numerous ways to bring a vehicle pursuit to a satisfactory conclusion. There's tyre spikes, roadblocks, and even waiting for the suspect to run out of petrol. But there's one method that beats them all, and the cops like to call it the pit maneuver. All you need to do is match your fugitive's speed, give them a gentle shunt, and send them careering out of control.
You're coming in broken. He has been pitted. It was not my...
Note the way the suspect raises his hands as if to say, "It wasn't me, officer, the car was driving itself." Either way, that perfectly executed pit maneuver means your high-speed hijinks are over. There's very little the suspect can do about it except try not to be carsick and pray the cops don't accidentally shoot him.
110, is the vehicle stopped?
And driving this old banger meant he really didn't stand a chance. Now, hands up anyone who wishes they'd stolen a faster car. It doesn't seem strange to us that no one who's been to prison ever seems to want to go back again. You have to go to endless classes re-educating yourself on your evil ways. You have to relieve yourself in a bucket and, if you're lucky, work in the kitchen where you might be fortunate enough to see someone get their hand pushed into a giant mincer. While later on, another giant mincer might try the same trick on you. Broken your parole again? Your only option is to floor it. In this con's fervour to avoid the jailhouse, he forgets one thing: his seatbelt.
Signal 5, he's signal 5.
Yes, after this stunt, it looks like he's going to be eating all his extra porridge through a straw. Sadly, of all the things you might get taught in prison, getaway driver safety isn't one of them. This driver was thrown clear, and while he's not dead, he is badly injured, and he's not going to be doing any cat burgling anytime soon.
I don't know what, he's in bad shape, Wayne. He don't look good, bro.
He come out?
Yeah, he's been ejected. I guess he's the only one, Wayne. He hit the ditch, and the car...
As this jolly-looking officer checks our man's pockets for contraband, the road is blocked and an ambulance called.
Car up, block the road.
Remember, the next time you're being chased by the cops and you decide to execute a 60-mile-an-hour 90-degree turn into a pitch-black cornfield, you'd be well advised to stay with your car and possibly think about wearing a seatbelt.
Taking off again.
Phoenix, Arizona. A passing patrol car found the man in this white Cadillac taking a nap in the desert. But before the cops could ascertain whether he'd actually done anything wrong, the dozing crim pulled off at high speeds, leaving the cops to choke on his fumes. Now he's wide awake and tearing up these busy roads, stirring up as much trouble as he can. While he was fast asleep, he posed much less of a threat. But when the cops disturbed his afternoon nap, they kicked off a nightmare. The suspect bobs and weaves through the traffic, sometimes coming within inches of other cars, and patently ignores any traffic lights that aren't in his favour. He seems intent on racking up as many traffic violations as he can. He drives on the wrong side of the road. He drives on the sidewalk and generally endangers the lives of anyone unfortunate enough to meet him head-on. But just when it seems that nothing in the world is going to stop him, the reckless runaway clips the pavement, blows out a tyre and ends up rear-ending a truck. The pickup driver thinks he might have to stop to exchange insurance details, but no. Sleeping Beauty is off to see how much mayhem he can cause on foot. Sadly, the answer is not a lot. He's quickly caught, cuffed and carted off to jail for a long list of driving offences. But if this is how he likes to get up in the morning, then perhaps sometime in the slammer is just the wake-up call that this dangerous driver needs. Still to come, colourblind driver misses a red light. Fences cause no problem for this crook. And Demolition Derby takes to the highway. Drunk test dummies. Once again, it's time for us to look into the murky world of drunk drivers and chuckle at the amusing excuses they come up with as to why they were driving appallingly badly.
Hello. I couldn't help noticing when you went by you didn't have your seatbelt on. I appreciate putting it on now, but that's not how it works. Could I see your license?
No, the passenger.
Okay.
And he's not paying attention. He's fighting with his girlfriend and he's yelling and I'm trying to tell him to.
Well, how much?
In a break with tradition, the guy decides to blame his passenger, but the cops don't fall for it and it's time for the sobriety tests.
You say you've had 2 or 3 beers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Next, he tries the "I've never left the house" excuse, a little-known drunkard's technique which is very hard to pull off.
More. Okay, you know.
This is the first time I've been out, period, in all year.
First time you've been out all year?
Yes, sir.
I don't understand what that means.
I'm just relaxing.
You haven't been anywhere all year, or
No,
first
I'm
time
just
you've
relaxing.
been out? First time you've been out doing what, sir?
No, I'm just relaxing tonight.
Okay.
So.
This guy's clearly not one to follow the herd.
Do you know what a field sobriety test is, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, do you agree to take the field sobriety test?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and put your feet together, hands down to your side.
He's an individual. He's determined to be different.
Hold on a second. You don't mind if I take a Galveston? Because I got some bad gas in it, sort of.
He can't take the test
You need to
because he's
take one
got
right now?
bad wind.
I don't mind, but I'm just farting.
Okay,
like
well,
mad. It's
hey, I
distracting.
spent 20 years in the Army. I can deal with
Okay.
almost anything, okay?
Okay.
I
that's
do
fine.
appreciate you bringing it up, and I will excuse you for anything that accidentally happens.
No. I
Okay,
understand.
fair enough.
Okay.
The cop doesn't seem to be falling for this windy
Okay.
charade one little bit and offers to let the man let rip at will.
Okay, you ready?
Hold on. I feel both coming on because I have a cold. I don't know if you noticed.
Feel
I'm hoarse.
both coming on?
I'm hoarse.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed I'm hoarse.
Okay, well, I will understand that when you're counting if
Okay.
it's a little scratchy.
No. I want to cough.
Despite his novel
and then-
approach to getting let
I got
off, this
real
driver
bad
isn't going to be let off even if he
Like I
does
said,
let
I can
off.
deal with that.
And much to his displeasure, his passenger gets completely let off.
Taking off again.
These officers have been called to investigate a suspicious-looking parked vehicle. They find the driver slouched over his wheels, so the experienced officers use a special procedure to establish if the man is dead or alive. First, they shout at him.
Hey, partner! Look out!
When he doesn't respond, they try a different approach.
Hey!
They shout slightly louder, but there's still no response.
Hey! Wake up!
So the cops quickly move on to the prodding technique. When this fails to find any signs of life, the police decide they need to get the man's body out of his truck so that they can get a better look at it. But by the way the man clings onto his truck for dear life and refuses to budge, it becomes clear that he isn't dead after all, just dead drunk. Thankfully, he'll be sleeping it off in a jail cell tonight rather than in the county morgue. And perhaps to save a little time later on, the attending officers partly undress their suspect before they go. Interestingly, it seems that the man they've arrested bears a more than passing resemblance to William Shatner of Star Trek fame. Whether or not this information has any bearing on tonight's events will perhaps only be uncovered after a full investigation. For now, though, the only place this guy will be boldly going to is jail. For a moment, it looked like he'd met his final frontier.
Hey, partner. Look out.
But in the end, it turned out this Star Trek lookalike was less Captain Kirk and more drunken Burke. Sometimes the cops come across a driver with almost supernatural skills, a driver who has something of the night about him. This phantom begins by tricking the tailing cops into thinking that he's considering pulling over like a good citizen. Then he breaks loose. First he heads off-road. Expertly handling his skidding motor, he swings round and heads back the way he came. The cops are left eating his dust as he disappears in an almost paranormal flash of speed. With a sixth sense of what the cops are going to do next, our driver controls the chase. Unlike most of the wayward wackos that we normally see on Cops Uncut, he actually seems to have some kind of plan. He begins to execute mysteriously random changes in direction, taunting the cops, trying to trick them into committing a turn. It's clear that this bloke is a cut above the normal hog botherers that usually flip Grandma's pickup truck into a prize pumpkin patch. No, this guy seems almost to have come from another world entirely. Stranger still, as he disappears off the highway, this driver takes a turn into the Twilight Zone. Watch, one dead-end street. One hurricane fence and no way out. Or is there? Our criminal drives straight through the fence without leaving so much as a mark. Later replay of the cop car's onboard camera shows an intact fence and nothing more than the vanishing taillights of what Garden City PD later came to call the ghost car. Some people just won't listen to reason. Take these two fugitives driving away from the law sluggishly in a builder's lorry. They've pulled up at a junction, been ordered at gunpoint to give up, and then driven off as though the cops just asked them for a quote. In need of a more blunt technique, the police elect to simply run these crazy contractors right off the road. It might have brought about the early death of a patrol car, but at least the vehicle passed away doing what it did best, intercepting crazed builders who somehow think they can outrun the law in a flatbed truck. Now, how about an estimate to put that lot right, lads? Well, it's definitely gonna cost you.
Taking off again.
There are things that can happen by the side of the road that can leave you speechless. On Cops Uncut, we've seen plenty of stationary cars take a hit on the edge of the highway, but for those involved, that moment of impact still tends to come as a bit of a surprise. While pausing for a donut break sitting on his bonnet, this cop's squad car was hit by another car from behind, and the trooper found himself getting run over by his own motor. Unsurprisingly, the unlucky lawman had little to say bar a few choice expletives.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. God damn. Oh, my. Oh. Oh. Taking off again.
Still to come. Atlanta police open a crash.
Was that your mom? In the car? No? Okay.
Jumping the lights land this crim in trouble. And a cop treats a car like a crook. Police Academy Lesson 85, Teamwork. As a cop, you're always surrounded by other cops, so whether taking down crooks or munching on a donut, teamwork is essential. The first lesson to learn is pursuit driving as a team. Proceed in a line and try not to get too far ahead, or you may hit the car in front. No one likes a goal hanger, so don't be tempted to leap out of your car prematurely, and certainly don't do it if all you're going to do is slap the window like a girl. If the driver of the runaway car should find himself in trouble and going in the wrong direction, move forwards together and hound him like a pack of dogs. Take it in turns to crash your car into the felon, making sure that everyone has a go. Teamwork is all about sharing the fun. And when the car finally comes to rest, consider your options. Perhaps a careful pincer movement or a 4-4-2 formation as you approach the motor. Or if you just can't control your excitement, run in with all the decorum and finesse of a horde of Mongol stormtroopers on a 3-day pass. So to recap, teamwork is vital when apprehending a felon. Crashing is fun, so be sure to share it with your teammates, and when it all comes to a stop, just let yourself go and rush around, smashing things and jumping about. It may not be in the manual, but it will scare the crap out of the crims.
Taking off again.
Usually carjacking and kidnapping are two distinctly different crimes. But in this Texas incident, the woman seen casually strolling back to this car has managed to pull both off at once. The car is not hers for a start. She's pinched it from a local petrol station when the woman driving it went to pay for her gas. But inside the car there's something else that doesn't belong to her, and now she has to explain to the police not only why she is driving somebody else's car, but also why she's got someone else's little boy in the back seat. Once the suspect is taken into custody, the cop moves in to interview the star witness.
Hi, buddy. Is that your mom? Was that your mom? In the car? No? Okay. All right, let me do you. Okay? Is that all right if I can pull you out? Yeah. Okay. Where's the seatbelt there? Your mom is coming, okay? So you gotta be calm.
When the cop lifts him out, things that should be very obvious kick in for our officer.
This is the suspect here. You are heavy. Yeah. Would you like to sit in the patrol car?
He's clearly got a talent with kids.
Sit right there, okay?
Unfortunately, when it comes down to the business of actually solving crimes,
I still don't know what the hell's going on.
he just hasn't got a clue. Atlanta PD are in hot pursuit of a driver seen firing a gun from his vehicle. But there's no stopping this trailer park Mario Andretti as he narrowly avoids another head-on collision, hammering his battered saloon through the school-run traffic on this otherwise sleepy afternoon. Now, flat out, this armed outlaw clearly doesn't want to be taken alive. There's certainly no time to mirror, signal, maneuver as he heads towards a T-junction. With the cops firmly on his tail, he hangs a left, taking care to find an appropriate break in the traffic. Confused by the collision, the driver begins to slow down. An armada of police cars rolls towards the armed suspect. He decides to make his stand and police exit their vehicles, weapons drawn. In a brief but furious battle for survival, cops use their cruisers for cover and gun down our armed driver. Bored police now have to call this trigger-happy twat an ambulance and fill in lots of forms. That'll be 6 points on his license if it's not full of bullet holes. Perhaps he can use his time recuperating from multiple gunshot wounds to read the highway code. Especially that tedious part about taking both hands off the steering wheel while you reload. Let's take a look back at today's mayhem. This car dumped its driver, but this crook dumped his car. This criminal was caught napping, but this ghost car gave cops sleepless nights. We saw police being rough and tough, and we saw cops getting soft and sensitive.
Is that your mom?
The cops have been on the receiving end of some horrific scenes
I got real bad guys.
and some horrific people. So it's not surprising they occasionally lose their rag. Be careful out there.